Hello, everyone. This is Dawn Pickin again. I want to thank you for joining us for this information session on the Advanced Certificate in Project Management program. Today, we're going to talk about a little bit about the curriculum for this program, career opportunities in project management, and the application process. We'll also have time to answer some of your questions at the end. So again, my name is Dawn Pickin. I am a program director here at CUNY SPS in the Office of Professional Education and Workplace Learning. I'm joined by Beth Willett, who's an adjunct professor in the program. She is a PMP and she runs the Willett Group, which is a project management consulting firm, and we'll be hearing from Beth a little bit later in the presentation. So first, I would like to tell you a little bit more about our school for those of you who may not be familiar with CUNY or the CUNY School of Professional Studies. For those of you who are not, maybe you're not from the New York City area, CUNY is the City University of New York. We are the public university system of New York City and the largest urban university in the country. The CUNY School of Professional Studies was founded in 2003, and we are one of the 26 schools in the CUNY system, which includes senior colleges, community colleges, and professional schools. CUNY SPS offers various types of programs. We have 12 undergraduate degree programs, which are designed for people who have some college credit, but may never have completed their degree. Some of the bachelor's degrees we offer are in fields such as information systems, disability studies, and health information management. We also have 13 master's degree programs in fields such as business management and leadership, youth studies, and data analytics. And then we also have 19 certificate programs, which are offered at both the undergraduate and graduate level. The project management certificate program that we're talking about today is a graduate level program, which means you must have at least a bachelor's degree to apply, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Most of our programs are offered online, and CUNY SPS was ranked 16th in the nation in US News and World Report's list of 2018 best online bachelor's degree programs, and that's something we're really proud of. We do online education very well, and this program is an online program, so we're happy to talk more about that in a little bit. Currently, we have over 3,200 students enrolled in our programs. Most of our students are working adults, and our programs are geared towards teaching adult students. So the Project Management Certificate Program has been around since 2008. So we've been doing this for about 10 years. It's a fully online program, which is offered in an asynchronous format. And what that means is you can log into the course site at times that are convenient for you from week to complete your coursework. And we'll get more into that a little bit later in the presentation. You do not need prior project management experience to take this program, though, as I did mention, you do have to have a bachelor's degree. And also, as I just mentioned, just to reiterate, we really do gear our curriculum and our work towards teaching adult students. Our faculty, they're practitioners in the field. They've all earned their PMP, which is the Project Management Professional credential offered through PMI, the Project Management Institute. They all have many years of experience working as project managers, so they can provide real-world experience into the classroom. And that's a great segue to turn it over to Beth Willett, who is one of our faculty and is going to talk more about the field of project management and the certificate program curriculum. So Beth, take it away.
Thank you so much, Dawn. And you know, as I was looking at that previous slide, I realized we have a 10-year anniversary to celebrate since we started this journey. That's a pretty cool milestone. So project management is something that we all do, and we probably do it on a daily basis, but we don't often articulate it in the terminology that I'm going to share with you, or maybe we haven't recognized it as such. So what you see in front of you are the definitions of what is a project and what is project management. A project, let me just go through each of these, and then I'll give you a couple examples. A temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. And that means it's got a beginning, it's got an end, and there's something created as a result of our efforts. So we've got a scope or something we're doing, a deliverable, and resources to help us get that work done. So project management makes very good sense, that it's the application of certain knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to our project activities so that we can achieve those requirements. And so as I work with folks literally across the globe on this subject, there's all kinds of things. If you're in New York City, you see project management every single day. You cannot possibly commute without seeing it in action. There is a new construction going up. There's a repair of a subway. There is a rerouting of something going on because of a project. So we hear about these projects all the time. In the fall in New York, you've got the marathon. That's a project. Getting prepared for that, doing that work. If you ever go up to the botanical gardens in the Bronx at Christmas time, they every year put up this wonderful display with trains that run through the whole garden. That's a project, right? So we all have projects. Planning a vacation is a project. Moving, if you've ever moved, that's a project. So it doesn't last forever. You have a result. You built the building. You updated the subway line. You created the Christmas magic at the botanical gardens. You might be even implementing some automation. So applying technology to help automate things. We all have this thing that we carry around with us called a cell phone, but it's mostly used for apps now. So every one of those apps that you open started as some kind of project. What are we going to do? What's the end result? What are the requirements? How will people use it? So project management truly is everywhere. And we wanted to share with you a little bit about the curriculum, which is the next slide. We have set up 3 courses in this master's certificate curriculum. So it's 3 courses, 3 credits each, giving us 9, if I remember my simple math. And so I wanted to share with you a little bit about each of these courses in the curriculum. And I also wanted to just invite you, there's a text chat. As you have questions, you're welcome to put your questions in the text chat. Anything that you wanted to have Dawn and me address, we would be delighted to do that. So 3 courses in the program. Once you complete the courses, you'll earn a 9-credit graduate level certificate in project management, which is pretty significant. So let me talk to you about the 3 courses. The first is the fundamentals of project management. So this is your basic course. It sets the foundation for all things project management related. It will give you those critical foundation elements that you would need to know and to understand to be part of any project. And so some of the areas it might address would be identifying that life cycle. How do we start the project? How do we plan it? How do we carry out the activities and make sure we're doing only those activities, monitoring it, controlling it? And then once we get our deliverables all set, what's the proper way to close that project and document it as the success that we hope it's going to be? And so thinking about a renovation, a construction project, thinking about a move, thinking about planning a party, planning a wedding. There's always that scope of work. What is it we're intending to do? So scope is what we call a critical project constraint. We also have to know how much money we've got to spend, right? That's our cost or our budget. And we also have to have some kind of timeline across it. So in the foundations class, the fundamentals of project management, we'll really talk about those project constraints. Scope, time, and cost are what we call the triple constraint, but we also want to make sure we manage risk, our resources, the quality of our deliverables. Communications throughout is critical. Do we have any contracting or procurement? We have to manage that. We've got to manage our stakeholders, people who could impact or influence our project. So those are all considered project constraints that we will want to make sure we understand and manage. And the course walks you through each one of those and gives you some tools and techniques to use and apply for each of those throughout your project lifecycle. So with that course, you have a very strong foundation of the basics and fundamentals of project management. Then Prom 601 is your project communication and leadership course. Now, I don't know if you're aware, but it's been documented that 90% or more of a project manager's time is spent in communications. So that just shows you how really important communications is. And we know that leadership is a must if you are in charge of a project. And so these are kind of this is a focus in on sort of the soft skills that are critical to project management, critical to the communications. So we build upon the things that you learn in the fundamentals course, and then we will compare and contrast various leadership approaches. We'll help you find out where's your forte, what are your leadership styles that you could bring to bear. We'll talk about things like organizational boundaries and hierarchy, cultural boundaries and structures. And we'll identify some practices that can be used to be effective in your communications, in your organization, across cultures, as well as in a virtual team environment. The last component of this, which is very, very key, is recognizing and managing challenges of ethical leadership. Ethical leadership. That's something that really can set you apart as you grow your career. The third piece of the curriculum is the managing the triple constraints. So that's the Prom 601 or 602, managing triple constraints, scope, time, and cost. Now this is a deeper dive into those core areas that I mentioned of project management. This takes the focus of almost a scientific approach or the science side of project management and that tricky balance that's required to really be successful as you manage your project. And so we'll dive deep into this triple constraint, managing scope, managing time, managing cost. We'll connect it to the stakeholders, people that have an interest or could be impacted by your project. And we bring a little more quantitative approach to it with a technique called earned value management, which is a very scientific approach that not only can track progress, but it can predict future progress based on very quantitative measures that we'll share with you. So we'll also talk a little bit about project management software and how once you know the basics, know the principles, know the process, the software can actually help you as you manage your project through the life cycle. So those are the 3 courses in the curriculum. And why bother? So the next slide, how is this certificate going to help you? It's a very individual response that I get. And it's usually a different response if I ask folks before the curriculum and then after they've successfully completed the curriculum. So the certificate will definitely give you some hands-on work. I know that for a fact because I helped design these courses. You will work through real life situations, real projects, and real principles will be applied. So you'll start to recognize and connect that, oh my goodness, I do project management in my day-to-day walk. And so you'll start to realize you can apply these skills not just in your job, but they can be applied across disciplines in your life, across different industries. Dawn mentioned several earlier: healthcare, construction, government, not-for-profit. manufacturing, banking, retail, and of course, information technology. So it really can be applied across these. Just this year, and this is only May, I have gone in and done hands-on work for a not-for-profit in New York City, Young Adult Institute, very focused in on how to improve the project management of their applications and information technology part of their world. Technology companies, global consultancies, and manufacturing, as well as retail. So very diverse, very different verticals, very different industries, but all can benefit from project management. So if you're thinking about who should apply, let me address that one now. Basically, if you have any connection, if you've resonated with anything Dawn or I have said, you're a candidate. So anybody who's interested in learning a little bit more formal approach to sharpening your project management skills, how can I acknowledge what I'm doing and doing well, but then take it to the next level, that continuous improvement perspective. And of course, CUNY's SPS Career Services can help you make some decisions, can help you decide which thing is right for you, and think about which certificate would be right for you in your professional profile. I know as I'm working with clients, not only do they want to see a certificate like a project management professional, but they want to see, do you have formal training? Do you have formal education as well as experience? So this really could help give you a very nice perspective to build your personal portfolio for your career steps. So I'm going to turn it back over to Dawn, and she's going to walk you through a little bit about the admission process, costs, and how to apply. Dawn, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. So let's talk a little bit now about our admissions requirements. As I mentioned previously, because this is a graduate level program, you do have to have a bachelor's degree to apply, and we do ask that you have at least a 3.0 GPA. So the process works like this. You would complete an application online, submit it with the $125 application fee, and then have all official transcripts from any school that you've attended previously to us. So that includes any, obviously your undergraduate programs, any graduate programs, or if you went to law school or any other schools that you took classes at, even if you didn't complete your degree there. So basically admissions does require transcripts from all schools that you've attended. I know some of you may have foreign transcripts. We would need those as well. If you do have a foreign transcript, you have to submit the official transcript from the institution you attended, but you must also have that transcript officially evaluated, and if it's not in English, officially translated as well. There are organizations that do this. We can't have you do your own translation, for example. The organization has to be approved by NACES, which is the National Association of Credential Evaluation Services. You'll see a link here which would take you to the NACES website that shows a list of approved organizations that do this type of evaluation. So let's talk now a little bit about cost. I'm going to put a caveat out there that these are the current fees for this current academic year, which is shortly ending. So tuition may be a bit higher than these numbers for the fall. The CUNY Board of Trustees does set all of the tuition fees, tuition rates and fee rates for the entire university. So I believe that is going to be discussed at a June meeting, and we would know more about whether tuition is going to be increased at all later this summer. and our website would be updated accordingly. But for now, to give you an idea, the graduate tuition is $440 per credit, which is $1,320 for one 3-credit course. And then there are per semester fees, which total just about $100. So that totals $1,422 for one course. So you're not required to pay for all 3 courses up front. You would pay for each course as you register for them. We do have a tuition payment plan that's available once you're accepted and registered into a class, and this tuition payment plan would allow you to make your payments for the semester in installments. And then, you know, basically the earlier you register, the more payments you can have at a lower amount. So on this slide, you will see the web address that will take you to our program page on the CUNY SPS website. This is just a screenshot that shows what the page looks like so you know where you are and know where the Apply Now button is. The deadline to submit your application for the fall semester is July 26th. So we do need you to complete the application and submit it with your application fee by that date. And then, you know, it's okay if your transcripts come in a bit after that, but you do have to apply by that date. Otherwise, you would not be able to be considered for fall. One thing I would mention is if you do have foreign transcripts that need to be sent to us and evaluation, that process takes a little bit of time. So if you are an applicant that has a foreign transcript, I would recommend moving forward on that and not waiting until the deadline, because it does take a little while to get those. So I'm going to go over we get some questions a lot. So I'm going to go over some of those, and then I see some questions coming in over our chat that I'd be happy, and Beth would be happy to address as well. But let's talk a little bit about some of our frequently asked questions. First, how long would it take to earn the certificate? It takes 3 semesters, taking 1 course per semester. You would have to take the PROM 600 Fundamentals of Project Management course first. That is a prerequisite to the other 2 courses. And then just the way we schedule them, we schedule the other courses every semester, 1 course every semester. So it typically takes people 3 semesters to complete the certificate. The next question is whether or not this program would help you obtain a PMP. So that is the Project Management Professional Credential that is issued by PMI, the Project Management Institute. This program is likely to fulfill the project management education requirement for obtaining your PMP. But I do want to note this is not a prep course for the PMP. It's not designed to specifically help you pass the exam, although PMI's principles and practices are you know, deeply embedded in our curriculum. Beth, I don't know if you have anything else or further that you want to add to that. You can feel free to jump in.
You are absolutely correct in everything that you said. One thing I will just emphasize is we really break it down just like the project management body of knowledge. So we go through each of the knowledge areas on that foundation class. So that will lay a very strong foundation should you wish to prepare and study. The other thing I would add is by some of the little quizzes that are given every week, and certainly the final exam, those are really great practice for that type of certification exam as well.
Thank
so it's
you.
a great foundation, yeah.
Thanks. The next question is about GPAs, and if you fall below the 3.0 threshold that we require. If your GPA is lower than a 3.0, what I would recommend is that you submit a personal statement along with your application that includes specific information about why you want to take the program, your information about your previous academic experience, or anything else that would help us get a more full picture of your academic ability. And we would take that into consideration as we're looking through your application. The next question is if financial aid is available. Traditional financial aid is not available for this program since it is a part-time program, and you would need to be a full-time student to take part in more traditional financial aid. But as I did mention earlier, we have a tuition payment plan option that's available once you're a registered student. And then finally, I touched upon this a little bit, but about how online learning works. So as I mentioned, the classes are asynchronous. That means you're not required to log into the course site at any specific time, like this webinar. It's not like that. But you are able to log into the course site at your own convenience every week to complete coursework. We use a platform called Blackboard. Students would need to log in probably a few times a week. Beth, let you in a second kind of talk a little bit more about how it works in your class. But I know that typically, students, they can interact with their professors and fellow students, usually in a discussion board or a blog that is located inside the Blackboard platform. You would be able to read and respond to posts. This program does a lot of group work where you'll be assigned to work in groups on projects. I guess, Beth, if you want to talk a little bit further about how that works in your class and give folks a little bit of a more detailed picture about how it works, that would be really helpful.
Sure, happy to do that. So it's online, right? We don't physically see each other, and our interaction, therefore, is very much online, which most people are pretty comfortable with today. We have a lot of social media. Texting is almost a priority over a phone call. And so this venue gives you that opportunity to interact like you would on a Facebook page, like you would in a discussion blog, like you would in long text chats even. And so there's a section for the whole class to have discussions. I always post sort of an open area. I call it a cyber cafe. And as people see something interesting that they'd like to chat about, welcome to post that. And we also have assignments that are about reading relevant articles or reviewing a certain section of our practice of project management and giving their perspective on it. And not just your perspective, but reading your classmates and commenting on theirs. So that's all embedded into how we interact. Very, very important for an asynchronous online class to have this kind of interaction. And then the other type is, as Dawn mentioned, the group projects. And so groups determine how they wish to interact with one another. Some choose a platform outside of Blackboard, but within Blackboard is a wonderful group section that allows real-time text chatting, document sharing, discussions, blogs. You can actually do timelines within your group section and plan your strategy for how you're going to deliver on your project. So lots of really great features right within the whole Blackboard system itself to facilitate this communication. And it is the way we communicate. Occasionally emails, yes. There's always an announcement board. I try to do at least one announcement a week of what's going on, what's relevant, just to keep people on point. But very important that you are on the platform. It would be impossible to do well if you did not regularly get on the platform. But once you get in it and get familiar with how to navigate around, I find that people are very interactive, and it's very enriching as we share with our colleagues perspectives. So it's worked really well, and I see tremendous improvements with each version that we get of Blackboard. So I'm delighted that we can use that platform.
Thank you, Beth. And one thing I wanted to mention is that for students that are accepted into the program, we encourage you to take our version of an orientation, which is called Online Learning Essentials, and that will help you get familiar with Blackboard and how to use it. So once you become a registered student, we would, about 2 weeks before the start of the semester, we would give you access to that orientation in Blackboard, and that will help you orient yourself to how it works and what it looks like so that you're ready to go on the first day of class. So I am actually going to answer a couple of the more general questions that I see coming in on our question board. I just want to make mention to people that have asked very specific questions about your own personal situation that are not broad. Either Brandon is, my colleague Brandon Kelly is responding to those, and if we don't get to that, we will provide you a response individually. But a few general questions that might be interesting to other people, I'm happy to address. So the first is, what type of resources or books are used for the courses? Each course varies, and Beth touched upon this a little bit. We do have selected textbooks that we use for most of the courses, along with other current readings. There are videos that you're supposed to view. We use a different, a wide variety of media and methods in each course. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that, Beth, or if that addresses it.
I think that's fine for now because they are different for each course. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. And then another question has come in. If we have more students who come from a certain industry. Again, Beth, feel free to chime in. I think that it really, really varies. As we kind of touched upon in the presentation, project management can be applied to really any industry. I don't know if you see any trends in your classes, Beth?
The trend is that it's inconsistent.
Exactly.
So, for example, this last term, I had quite a few people from both academic and healthcare industries. Some from banking, some in IT, some in the arts. Last term, I had quite a few people from media and art. So it really does, it does vary, but I love the diversity and a variety because that really becomes more enriching. So it's, everyone's welcome and everyone can apply it.
Exactly. Thank you. And stay on the line, Beth, because I think you're going to be able to speak to this question a little bit better. Someone is asking about the PMP and that you need 35 hours of project management education and 4,500 hours leading and directing projects for that credential. The person that posed the question did indicate that that is a mid-career certification, which is true, but I know that PMI offers a more entry-level certification, the CAPM, which, Beth, do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because folks that do not have project management experience prior to this program may be a little bit more interested in that credential, which is not as well known.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. That's a certified associate in project management. And it's kind of like a beginner or foundational certificate. So you need a little experience, but it's a few thousand hours instead of 4,500. 4,500 is like full-time for 4 years, full-time. And so that is a good first step. The application process is similar, but not as rigorous. You always need some kind of educational dimension, and as I think was stated a couple times, the foundation course would certainly count for any of those hours that are required, and well over those hours, frankly. But that CAP-M is what they call it, is a good starting point. and should get in that, get your feet wet, get a clear understanding of terminology and definitions and processes and structure and framework. That becomes a really good foundation for the next step if you feel that the PMP is a little bit more senior than you would like to be. But the PMP, keep in mind, if you've been on projects and taking a lead role in aspects of the project, you may still be a candidate for the PMP. And that 4,500 hours represents full-time project work for 4 full years.
Great, thank you. I hope that answers your question, Jessica. And if not, you can shoot us an email after the presentation. In just a minute, I'll be putting contact information up on the screen. There was a question about whether or not we offer classes in the summer or winter sessions. We don't. We have found that folks that are in certificate programs here don't typically like to take classes during those sessions. So we really stick to the fall and spring semesters. Another question has come in about the cost for books. There are additional costs. We try to keep them as low as we can. I think the high end is probably somewhere in the $100 to $200 range, depending on what the book is. But we do try to supplement with other non-cost materials as best as we can. I know this is specific to someone. I just want to reiterate about the GPA. If it falls below a 3.0, you can submit a personal statement to us that talks about your academic experience along with your application. Just scanning the questions, and I think that is it for the last, for the general kind of questions. So I want to put up here on the slide is contact information for me and for our program coordinator, Brandon Kelly. You should feel free to reach out to either of us and we will respond to any specific questions you may have about the application process, about the program, and we'd be happy to do that. So I want to thank everyone for joining us this afternoon, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.